Guten Yardening. It's a beautiful sunny morning here among the grapes, and today we want to talk to you about squash, specifically winter squash. Now my family loves winter squash. There are many reasons why. The taste is absolutely perfect for soups, it's great in stir fries, but beyond that, it also is very productive and lasts a long time. In fact, from last year's harvest of over 100 pounds of squash, we're just finishing the last one this week, and we're in the month of June. I'd say that's a pretty long-lasting crop. The challenge with squash, specifically with butternut squash, is that it does take up a lot of space. So last year, we grew butternut squash, well, it volunteered to grow out of our compost. And that's where we got the 100 pounds from. Almost all of it from that compost area. That area in and of itself is small, but the scope of what that plant took up in the end was very large and a huge percentage of our overall yard. So this year, we tried something a little bit different. We have a winter squash, a different kind of winter squash, and rather than letting it take over our whole garden, and to encourage the variety that we're hoping for in our overall garden, we decided to plant it in a container and try to grow it vertically. So in the area where we are now, we actually have a little bit of space among the various trees and other plants that we're growing. But this area comes with some challenges. One of the challenges is the soil. The soil, it has a very high dense clay, and so it's difficult for roots to expand through here. The second problem for us is that there is actually a large tree behind us, and there are other tree roots coming into this area. So we don't want to go in, dig a lot around in this area and mess with those roots, and we want to give our plant the best opportunity to thrive. So rather than just planting it in the ground and hoping for the best, we've created a different option, a sort of modified tower for the plant to grow in. Our goal is to grow the plant first vertically and then down and spread along this area. Instead of planting it directly into that clay where we know the roots are going to have a hard time, we chose a different route. We have several of these pots left over from other plants that we've purchased in the past. They're a little bit thin plastic, but that's not what's important. What is important is there's some height to them. Our goal was to bury these pots about halfway into the ground, and inside, rather than having the clay soil, we would put our soil mix, a soil that we put together from topsoil, peat moss, and vermiculite along with some fertilizers. This soil has exceptional drainage, and so unlike the clay, we can make sure we thoroughly water, and it's going to get down, and we're also going to have plenty of room for the roots to grow. For the pot, we had to make sure that even though there are holes in the bottom and the drainage is okay, we had to make sure that there was plenty of room for the roots to have access to the soil underneath so that they can also expand through there. So we dug our hole about 4 inches deep. We mixed some of that native soil with a little bit of our mixture here under the pot, added a little bit of fertilizer to encourage the roots to grow down, and then we cut a hole, a little bit bigger hole, into the base of the pot. Now I used 10 snips. You're more than welcome to use anything. Scissors work just fine, but I had 10 snips on hand. And so we cut a hole, a bigger diameter hole, so that then, again, there's no problem with drainage, but the roots have a place that they can seek through into that native soil. But now we've created a barrier of about 8 inches of this beautiful soil that's going to encourage root growth before it gets into that native soil, so there's lots of strength. This plant, as you can see, has actually started to head upwards, which was our goal with this nice tomato cage. It's already started to head upwards, and it's going to have plenty of room to move. In fact, if you look close enough, you should be able to see one of the fruits that's already coming out. Now I have to say this winter squash is performing much better than just about any other winter squash or any other squash that we've planted so far. This has only been in the ground for about 3 weeks, or in this container for about 3 weeks, and it's really taking off. To encourage the vertical growth, we've attached a string to the primary vine and gently wrapped it around as the plant gets taller. So we're already about 2 feet up, and we have a total of about 4 feet encouraged growth that we're maximizing space going up and then down. So really it's about 8 feet of the plant that we're going to be able to develop here before it even starts to spread. Again, when you have a garden plot or a yard size that's as small as ours, you really have to maximize that growing potential. Otherwise, you're going to limit the amount of plants that you can actually put out, and certainly then limit the product of your work. So wrapping the plant is as easy as untying the string very gently, very carefully, coming down and wrapping it around the next area. You want to make sure that you're not damaging any of the leaves or any parts of the stem. And then pop it right back up and tie it again. As simple as that. You can repeat this process as the plant grows. Well, that's the setup for this plant. And again, it's unique from some of the other plants that we have here in that we've grown others in these small containers, but this is the first one we're trying to do vertically. We'll let you know how it goes as the season progresses. It's an exciting time to be trying a lot of innovative things. We're looking forward to this product. This is actually our first time with this specific variety of winter squash. So we're expecting great things, and we're expecting to do even better than we did last year. Well, thank you so much for your time. We hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you liked what you saw and heard today, please like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. And remember, when you're with us, you're good to grow.